Okay. Now that we have a quorum, I'd like to call this meeting to order.
And I'll jump in with a roll call vote. Apologies in advance if I mispronounce your name. Sometimes it takes me a couple times to get used to them. Okay, Judith Humberg.
Here.
James Oku.
Here.
Natalie Sayre.
Here.
Louis Fagoni.
Here.
Jonathan Winslow.
Here.
John Vars.
Here.
Bill Cook.
Here.
Oh, Peter Markey.
Here.
Ryan Casey.
Here.
Fred Crowder.
Here.
I'm Lauren Silberman, and I am also here. And now for our non-voting members, Natural Resource Conservation Staff, Jim Howard. Yeah, we haven't had him for a while. San Mateo County Agricultural Commissioner, Corin Whittle.
Here.
Farm Bureau Executive Director, Jess Brown. I don't know if I saw Jess yet. Okay, he might join in a bit. San Mateo County Planning Staff, Summer Burleson.
Here.
And UC Co-op Extension Representative, Frank McPherson. Okay, we have everyone here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's have a full roster again.
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
Oh, Supervisor Horsley, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it took me
Thank you for
joining. Took me a little while to find the link. It wasn't on my calendar, but I wanted to come because this is probably the largest number of new people on the Ag Advisory that I've seen in 11 years. And a number of them, normally we had very few applicants. And so we ended up oftentimes, with not much change, but the last time, maybe because people have become much more interested in agriculture on the South Coast or on the coast side in general. So we had a lot more applicants in the past. So I just wanted to thank everybody for your enthusiastic interest in agriculture on our coast side. And I think there's one person that needs to be sworn in. I think it's Jonathan Winslow.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I'm not officially sworn in yet.
Okay, well, I came here on purpose to officially swear you in.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, sir. I'm official.
Okay.
Don, if I'd known you were going to do that, I would have held off on being sworn in so that you could do it for me. Because
You can do it again if you want, Fred. You'll be fine with me. So, that being the case, I'm going to, what you're going to do is going to raise your right hand, even though everybody, yeah, there you go. And you're going to repeat after me, and I'm going to say I, and then you're going to say your name. So
I, Jonathan Winslow,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge.
that I will, what was it? Faithfully discharge?
And I will well and faithfully discharge
I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Well, congratulations and thanks for becoming a member.
Thank you, Dan. I really appreciate that.
So I'm looking forward to some great things from the advisory. And with that, I just wanted to thank all of you for your service. And some of you, like Louis, I've known Louis for like years.
Forever, Don.
Forever. We're both getting old together. So in any case, again, thanks all of you for your service.
Thank you, Don, for
Thank
coming and stepping in with us for a moment.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
So much.
Thank you, Don.
Okay,
Pleasure.
I'm gonna leave you now. So have a good evening. Thanks.
Thank
Good
you
to see
so
Happy
much.
Valentine's
Thank
Day.
Thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day.
All you guys, Bill.
Good night, Don. Happy Valentine's Day. guys.
What a pleasant surprise. Okay, I'm gonna,
Very good.
we need to adopt a resolution to be able to continue this meeting. So I'm gonna just do what we've been doing the last couple meetings and make a motion based on the wording of the agenda. So I move that as a result of the continuing COVID-19 pandemic state of emergency, meeting in person would present imminent risks to the health and safety of attendees.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay, now let me switch over to another roll call vote. Okay, Judy,
Yes.
James.
Here.
This one is a yes or no if
Oh,
you
yes.
are, okay, sweet. Natalie,
Yes.
thank you. Louis,
Yes,
Jonathan,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Bill.
Yeah.
Peter,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Fred,
Aye.
and I'm Laura and I vote yes. So we have a unanimous pass on continuing virtual meetings. Next up. Oh, our introduction of new members. Summer, did you want to kick that off? Sorry if I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, no, no. Yeah, so we, as the members know, existing members, there's 4 new members that are joining the committee, and they were appointed in January of this year. And so I thought if those new members were okay, I thought we just go around and they could introduce themselves, and just I had given them a little heads up. Hopefully you all received it, to maybe just say a couple of words about your interests and background. And we can start with, so there's 2 farmer positions that were filled, the conservationist position and a member of the public position. And so we can just go with Fred. You're just on my screen next. So if you want to go ahead, Fred is filling the position of conservationist.
I am, yes, and my background is written up a little bit in the packet, but I was surprised actually to be appointed as the conservationist. I figured I would go in as a farmer or the public position, as I recently married into the Irish Ridge Ranch, an egg producing operation. And but while here, we're undertaking several conservation projects, so getting some firsthand experience on the conservation side. But anyway, I worked for the Ag Department for 35 years and 10 years as the agricultural commissioner and sealer for San Mateo County. So, but in that time, gained an appreciation for the challenges faced by ag producers, and and ag as being one of the most highly regulated business sectors. So I have to apologize if I slur a little bit. I've had a bottle of champagne. Well, I shared one, and so it's Valentine's Day. What am I to do? Anyway, as ag commissioner, a lot of our responsibilities were conservation related in surveying and managing undesirable invasive species. And, in the course of that, we worked with the public, worked with growers, ranchers, post, mid-pen, the RCD towards the achievement of conservation goals. So, and that includes the protection of endangered species and those other things. So I have to say, I'm really pleased to be on the committee after having served as the Ag Commissioner for 10 years on this committee as a non-voting member, it's going to be really nice to be a voting member and to be able to more fully participate by actually voting on items and making motions and recommendations as a committee member. So I'm pleased to be here, and happy Valentine's Day for everybody. Glad to take any
Great.
questions anybody might have.
Good.
Thanks, Fred.
Thanks so much, Fred.
Let's see, you can move over to Ryan Casey is taking one of the 2 farmer seats. So welcome, Ryan.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Ryan. I run Blue House Farm. I have a ranch in San Gregorio, another one in Pescadero, and I grow organic vegetables and cut flowers for mostly local markets. And I'm just looking forward to doing what I can to keep agriculture happening here on the coast. And, you know, I think there's some challenging years ahead in that regard, and doing what I can to contribute. So, thank you again.
Great, thanks, Ryan. And is James?
Yep, I'm here.
Yep, James, there you are. James Oku is taking the other farmer seat. So welcome, James.
Hi. I'm James Oku, as many of you guys know and have seen me before. And I'm a 4th generation farmer. Our family started in 1902 in the Bay Area, and we've been growing in greenhouses since the 60s. We've grown cut flowers, and we've tried hydroponic leafy vegetables, and now we're checking out cannabis and seeing what everything's about. My father served on this committee, and I'm proud to be able to follow in his footsteps and serve on it as well, and see where the future of agriculture takes us.
Great, thanks, James. Welcome. And the 4th new member is Jonathan Winslow, and he's taking the seat of the member of the public. So welcome, Jonathan.
Thanks, Summer. Hey guys, Jonathan here. I grew up here on the coast in El Granada, went to El Granada Elementary all the way through the high school, and I ended up going to UCSC in Santa Cruz for my undergrad, and I got a introduction to agriculture there and was working at the organic farm there a little bit in my pastime, and studied agroecology and got a degree in environmental studies. From there, continued to work in strawberries in Watsonville and lived in Santa Cruz for about 9 years. Was helping growers there, mostly organic growers, manage soil-borne diseases for strawberries and raspberries and blackberries mostly. From there, went on to get a degree from Cal Poly in crop science, doing more applied research for plant protection. And from there, I've been research associates in labs and also managing field trial programs for crop protection companies. Currently, I just landed a position in at Plenty Farms, which is a vertical farming in South San Francisco, and I'm a grower there, growing strawberries. So my position changed a little bit since I applied, kind of more on the grower farmer side, but I thought it'd be appropriate to still be a public member. Love the coast, love the open space, love the agriculture. I want to contribute to it, maintain it. I want to see it thrive. So that's my goal, and want to see how I can help. It's nice to meet you all.
Excellent. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, everyone. At the risk of spending more time together on a holiday, do the current members want to quickly do some intros as well, just so we can all kind of help welcome the new folks? Anyone opposed to that? Okay, I'm not seeing any head
Lauren,
nodding. Yeah.
Lauren, I'll make it for. I want to welcome all you guys coming on board here. Thank you. We've been short committee members, and you guys fill it up. Looking forward to working with you.
Hello, Louis.
Hi, Fred. I've
Good to
worked with
see ya.
you, so.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm Judy Humberg. I'm a member of the public and have been involved in various forms of, not a grower myself, but definitely an appreciator of farmers markets and local agriculture for probably 30 years. So it's really wonderful to see this varied group of people here, and especially some new farmers on board. And just very excited that we're all so enthusiastic to help grow the abundance of farms and farming and ag in our region. Thanks, everybody. Nice to meet you all.
So
Good to see you, Judith.
this is Natalie, and I'll go whenever you want me to. I apologize. I can't see you guys to raise my hand.
No apology needed. Natalie, go right ahead.
We can't see you either.
Yeah, go ahead,
Excited.
Natalie.
Hi, everybody. Hey, first I want to say welcome to all the new people. It's really, really appreciate it, because sometimes it's difficult to preserve the farms on the coast. And so that's our mission, is to preserve agriculture on the coast. So as long as, we all have that in the back of our minds and we continue to do that, I think we're really making a difference. Anyway, so I'm Natalie Sayre, and we have Santa's Tree Farm, and I'm a third generation farmer. Our grandfather came here from Italy in the early 1900s and started farming, and then my father. Anyway, and that's about it, but I just want to welcome everybody. Thank you.
Hello, Natalie.
Natalie, why don't we jump to
my
Peter
name's-
next? Sorry, I totally interrupted you, John. I was thinking we get the phone folks next.
That's okay. Thank you, Lauren. Go ahead.
No,
and
thank you, John.
Get Peter in.
Yeah, my name's Peter Markey. Welcome to newcomers. And I just, like my sister stated earlier, that our grandfather started farming in the early 1900s, and then he farmed together with my father. And on my mother's side of the family, they farmed in Oklahoma. They had 160 acres, and they growed wheat and cattle. And that's my great-great-grandparents' farm in Oklahoma.
Great. I guess I'll introduce myself. My name's John Vars. I help run Fiskrow Farm, and we're an operation somewhat similar to Blue House, focusing on local markets, growing all organic, lots of diversity, some tree fruit, mostly vegetables, but also cuts. And we have a pastured poultry egg layer operation as well. And been serving on the committee for a few years, but still feel a bit of a newcomer. Fiskrow has been in operation on the coast here since 2009 was our first real season. So we've been here for a while, but definitely part of the new generation.
Hello, John.
John, I'll jump in next.
Hi, Fred.
Although you've already been hearing from me a bunch, my name is Lauren Silberman, and I grew up in Montera, lifelong coastal resident, moved back after school and whatnot. And I currently serve in the agricultural business role. And my background that brought me into that is I do a lot of licensing and compliance for cannabis companies. So I've worked with a lot of cannabis growers over the years doing their paperwork. So it felt appropriate to help do the paperwork here in the ag business role. And actually, so I was just thinking something I haven't shared before, but in terms of connections to farming, is I actually have a bunch of my extended family in Israel are farmers. They do apples, blueberries, grapes up in the Golan Heights. And then most recently, some of the new truffle cultivation operations where you have to inoculate the trees and then spend 7 years growing them to harvest truffles. So a little bit of exposure to farming from that side.
Some cutting edge stuff.
It's interesting. It all starts in the lab and then 3 years in a greenhouse before goes into the fields, and then you can't, it takes 5 years for it to mature, and then you can start actually harvesting the truffles with like truffle dogs from Italy.
Those shrooms are tricky, man.
For sure. But who haven't we heard from yet? Bill, I think.
Right. Oh, there, I'm unmuted. So, yeah, I'm Bill Cook. I guess I started doing environmental work like 50 years ago, and spent a lot of time doing endangered species habitat management work and reintroduction work through the late 1900s, and then moved here in 96 and became water quality program director for the San Mateo County Farm Bureau. Did a bunch of work on the flooding in Pescadero, and then around 2004 became manager of the old Campbell Soup mushroom farm property. Did a lot of compliance work there. We had the opportunity to work with Lundberg Family Farms doing an experimental crop of quinoa on the coast to see if that could be a successful crop, and it did well. Did some workshops on helping other farmers learn how to get organically certified. Did one of the first 2 hemp crops on the property out here on the coast. And I'd stepped away from really day-to-day operations for about the last 4 years. But now there's been a change, and I'm feeling good about re-entering things at the mushroom farm. So it's the old Campbell Soup mushroom farm, pretty amazing place. It used to produce 70,000 pounds of mushrooms a day with 450 full-time employees. And so it has this incredible infrastructure with a lot of, I mean, the potential is pretty amazing. There's 750 acres with some really super high quality native grasslands there. So we're doing everything from working with the Amamutsan tribal band to help them reestablish and connect to their ancient ways, to seeing what we can do to just kind of help move agriculture forward on the coast here. I'm delighted with the new members here. I think we just got a great group. I'm stoked about everybody who's joined and the folks who are already here. So glad to see everybody.
Thank you, Bill.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the committee. I'm Corin Whittle, the Director of Agriculture Weights and Measures, also known as the Agricultural Commissioner Sealer for the county. So at the Ag Department, we run a bunch of regulatory programs. We're the local authority for Department of Pesticide Regulation and California Department of Food and Ag. So we have programs running from pest prevention programs where we're looking at stuff coming in, making sure it's certified, to pesticide use enforcement. And we also run our weights and measures program. So we're out there looking at commercial devices to make sure they're accurate for you. But I am, as earlier stated, I am a non-voting member. So I'm here as an advisory member for you. So thank you and welcome.
So glad you're there, Corin. And you do way more than just regulatory programs.
I'm trying to get you out of here before 10.
Appreciate that.
Wonder, and then we all know Summer, who's our other non-voting member that's here tonight. So I think that's everyone. Thank you. And I just want to say welcome again. It's wonderful to have a full roster with such experienced folks again. So thank you.
Excellent. So we kind of are the next agenda item, although it's not clear to me. Lauren, are you reading those out? And I wait.
Oh, yes, yeah, we were
until
gonna
we get to the regular agenda.
Sorry, I just didn't. We didn't touch base on it this time. I didn't want to overspeak.
Officer elections is next on the item. And Louis had shot me an email earlier today about potentially suggesting that we put that off until the new members have at least one meeting under their belt, but we have been putting this off for a couple of meetings. So I'm okay continuing in this role of temporary chair.
I agree with Louis.
Yeah, I also wouldn't be opposed just to giving the new members at least a meeting to get to know the players before we ask them to elect. But just to provide a little bit of context, this is normally done in the November meeting each year, but we had so many vacancies that we didn't feel like it was appropriate to elect new members until we filled the role, or elect new officers until we filled the roles. So that's why we've been kind of putting it off for a while. And just as a point of reference, the chair can only be filled by a farmer position according to our bylaws. So it kind of narrows the options, just so everyone's aware.
Lauren, this is Louis. Does that also go for the vice chair?
Yes.
Summer's nodding, so I'm going to go with yes. Thank you, Summer.
Thank you.
And then the final context is thank you, and a big thank you to John. He was our vice chair previously, who's been very generously filling the role of acting chair since November. So thank you, John.
Well, with that said, I'll move to table this to the March meeting to give the new committee members time to see how it operates.
I would second that, since John is willing to continue.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll second that motion.
Too late.
Okay,
Bill.
I'm just I'm just
No, I was
typing it
gonna say
into
aye.
the record to allow the new members.
Come and say hi.
Okay.
There they
You
are.
are going to be our new acting chair.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
the new acting
and
chair here.
And I see your assistant there as well.
Okay, I'm gonna get, so we've got a motion on the
Okay,
table
come on,
from
yes.
Louis,
I
seconded
don't know
by
what
Fred. Okay, I'm gonna do another roll call vote. And just since we don't have in-person meetings, every vote's a roll call vote instead of just ayes. So sorry. Judy,
Yes.
James. Was that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Natalie,
Yes.
Louis,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Fred,
Aye.
and I'm Lauren, and I vote yes. I just feel like I'm doing a campaign ad when I have to call my own vote out. Okay, well, that tables it for the next meeting. And to continue reading us through, next up, number 6 is oral communications to allow the public to address the committee on any matter not on the agenda. If your subject is not on the agenda, the chair will recognize you at this time.
Okay, so I'm on an iPad here and I'm not seeing as much as always. So if anyone can see people raising their hand, go ahead and let me know. See if I can.
Problem, I'm not seeing anyone at this point. If you're calling in from a phone, I believe it's *9 to raise your hand.
*9 unmute you.
Okay, thank you, Natalie.
Uh,
Well, if you'd like to raise your hand by unmuting yourself and asking to speak, please feel free. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone.
all right, if no one from the public wishes to make a comment, then let's move on, I guess.
Sounds good. Next up, we've got committee member updates and or questions to allow committee members to share news and or concerns for items not on the agenda. I have a feeling everyone's being sensitive to our time tonight, which I appreciate.
Moving right along.
I'd like to mention quickly that on Saturday was a celebration of life for Jim Reynolds from Level Leaf Farm in Pescadero, who passed away. And it was a fabulous community event. There were hundreds of people there. And just like to acknowledge that he and Meredith were just cornerstones of the community in Pescadero. And that's it. Note that in the record here.
Noted. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Oh,
Bill.
Corin has her hand up.
I'll try to keep it quick. We had a growers workshop on COVID-19 last week. We had a panel two from the health department and one from Cal OSHA consultation unit, just to talk about the changes to the ETS. If you guys are interested, anyone's interested in getting a recording of that, it was about an hour long with questions and answers. You can feel free to contact my office for that. I wanted to put this out there because I haven't got a lot of response, but I am looking at doing a pesticide disposal event. There's some grant money out there to do that. So this would be for production agriculture who are looking to get rid of old pesticides that they no longer, use or want. And so kind of to do this event, I need to figure out how much I might collect and how much money that would cost. So we're kind of trying to get out to our growers and figure out if anyone has how much pesticides they may have in their storage that they simply aren't using anymore and don't want to have. And so this could even be pesticides that maybe aren't labeled correctly anymore. You might not know what it is. We just really would like to get the stuff out of storage units and out of the environment. So I'm asking my staff to collect kind of preliminary numbers so we can get an idea of what that quantity would be. So if my staff ask about that, it's okay to let them know. And then we do have masks again from Cal OES. We have KN95s for COVID and surgical masks for COVID. We also got some hand sanitizers, not too much, but we do have some. So if you're interested, please, contact my office again about those. And we also got some coveralls and face shields from the county. Now these coveralls and face shields are not chemical resistant, but if you need them, because they are water resistant, so your staff could use them, for cleanup or whatever they may want to use them for. That's non-pesticide related applications. So we do have those too. We got those from the county. So we have those available for farmers as well. And then I just wanted to put it out there. The county sent everybody on the board a survey, a demographic survey, probably at the end of January. Hopefully you filled it out. And then there will be a members training on March 3rd from 8:30 to 11. And hopefully you all received that invitation. If you didn't, please let us know and we can get you that link. So that's going to be a training on, it's going to review the handbook. It's going to talk about the roles and duties of members, the Brown Act compliance, and other legal requirements. So it should be interesting and hopefully helpful for all of us. And that's all I have.
Corin, I'm sorry, you said a demographic survey. What was that in reference? Did I mishear or what?
Yeah, it's a demographic survey. So I think it asks, your age group, your race, those kind of questions. And so the board is also, looking at using equity lens. I think they're going to discuss that at the training as well. So I think this is to get some information, baseline information on the board's makeup of the different commissions and boards in the county.
Thank you.
The new members may not have received it. I'm not sure. It may have been too soon for you because it was due on February 4th.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I received it, but I did not see it by February 4th. So if you wanted more input and opened up the survey again, I would certainly, perhaps with the new members, be able to participate.
Yeah, it was a quick turnaround on it.
I didn't see that email, Corin, but I'd be happy to participate if you should resend it.
Yeah, and I may have seen it, not paid attention to it, so I don't recall responding.
Okay, we'll see if they got enough information. In general, I don't know, Summer, if you heard anything about it.
No, but Corin, I was going to say I can check in with the boards and commissions to the members. Corin didn't send it from her office; it was through the county's boards and commissions. So I can check in with them and see and let them know we've got some new members and see if if there's time for them to maybe reopen it to the committee and let you guys know and get that sent out if that's possible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Summer. Okay, any other member updates?
Okay, any other updates from?
Sorry, we're like right just off on timing this time, John. I apologize.
Just keep it moving. That's all we ask.
Yeah. Okay, should we jump to the minutes?
Sounds good. Next up, we have consideration of the action minutes for the December 13th, 2021 and January 10th, 2022 AAC meetings. And for the new members, just for context, since we haven't had our training yet, we normally abstain from voting on the minutes if we miss the meeting that the minutes are for. But also don't let me tell you how to vote. Do whatever feels right for you. Okay, since I write the minutes, I usually hold off on making a motion to approve them. Anyone have any amendments needed to the minutes as drafted?
Lauren, this is Bill. I'll move the minutes as written.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Was that for both of them?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then I'll do a separate roll call vote for each. Okay. So let's do for the December 2021 minutes first. Judy?
Yes.
James?
Yeah. Yes.
Natalie?
These are the minutes that were sent previously, right? Because I don't.
Yeah, they're in the packet.
Okay, so then yes. I just don't have access for this packet to read the minutes. So if they were in this packet, I'd have to abstain because I'm stuck here with my flight being delayed.
Okay, no problem. Got you down for abstention. Louis?
Yes.
Thank you. Jonathan?
I will abstain. I was not present for that.
John?
Yes, I approve.
Thank you. Bill?
Yes.
Okay, Peter?
Yes.
Ryan?
I'll abstain.
Fred?
Aye.
And I'm Lauren and I vote yes. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that passes. Next up, we've got the January ones. Judy,
Yes.
James,
I'll abstain.
okay. Natalie, that was an abstention for both, just confirming.
Tell me again, I'm sorry. What'd you say, Lauren?
I just wanted to confirm you were abstaining for January as well as December.
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Louis,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
okay. John,
Yes.
okay. Bill,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Ryan,
I'll abstain.
Fred,
I'll abstain. I was not at the meeting.
okay. And I'm Lauren and I also vote yes. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 also passes. Okay, thanks. Okay, next up, we've got the COVID discussion. Thank you. Committee discussion on and update on the current COVID-19 pandemic, potential policies needed to protect local agriculture and water from contamination, how the pandemic may affect local food supply and access to farm labor and resources available to producers and farm workers. And just for a little bit of context, we've had this kind of general check-in on our agenda for, I think, a full 2 years now. And usually we're just checking in if anyone needs vax clinics, testing, things like that. With the recent surge, we had some more updates, but I think it's calming down a little bit. So I'll just kind of throw out what I throw out every single time, which is Coastside Hope and El Granada host a vax clinic every Friday and then Sunday afternoons. And there's free testing available every Wednesday in front of Ted Adcock Community Center in Half Moon Bay. And then there's been a lot more available with the recent surge, and you can go find more testing and vax sites on the county website. How did everyone survive the surge last month? Were folks able to kind of access the resources and the vax clinics and everything?
Yeah, got boosted and haven't had any problems. Still staying positive and testing negative.
I got boosted and ended up getting a cold and was quarantined from coming into my work, even though I tested negative for COVID-19. It was an interesting scenario. There was quite a bit of surges at my work, or cases at my work. I think 7 in one day was the most. We have approximately 400 people on site there. So
I'm fortunate as a pensioner, I can self-isolate, but put in for the federal testing kits and actually received that about 3 or 4 weeks after submitting the application. So those are indeed real, and they are coming to homes near you.
Yes, I did too.
Great. Well, I'm glad we don't have as much to talk about as last month. And I just want to highlight again what Commissioner Corn shared earlier, that if you need masks, you can contact for your farm site, you can contact the Ag Department as well.
I think there are more test kits now available. We thought we were going to get a whole bunch of them, and then they canceled those orders, and now it sounds like they're coming in again. Alas and Puente are getting kits as well too. So, and we'll have some, but I think what we're going to concentrate on is the people we didn't get to previously with the first round of kits. So, so we do have some available though. And that's all I have. Did we lose our chair?
Just looking. I think we might have lost John.
I'm so sorry. I just stepped out to grab my my computer's about to die and I don't want to lose you guys, so I was on mute for a minute.
Oh, I think we just lost John.
Okay.
I'm looking at all the boxes here.
Yeah, we're watching you, Lauren. We're watching you.
His service said he had low Wi-Fi, so maybe that's the problem.
Oh.
So who's our
Secretary.
who's our chair pro tem, co-chair pro tem?
Okay, sorry. Then I was
Lauren,
just
do you
talking on
wanna-
mute. I was just frantically plugging my computer in so you wouldn't also lose me. So sorry, we both had tech issues at the same time.
All right.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I'm back
There's
now.
John, yeah.
Totally, there you
Yeah,
are.
I apologize.
Maggie's
worries.
iPad.
Yeah, life of a farmer too, right?
Yeah, I was trying to. Yeah, I was trying to see if I could mute myself in a way that disconnected me.
Okay, well, I'm also back because my computer almost died and I
So-
had to run and grab my plug-in. Any other COVID updates? Okay, then next we have committee discussion and update on next action steps for market development for San Mateo County's agricultural production and potential. Usually Audrey gives us an update on this. I don't know if I saw her
She's
this
on
evening. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can give an update. We had to reschedule again because of the COVID surge, and we're looking at May 11th. We're just trying to find a outdoor venue. So if anyone has a recommendation for a very well ventilated indoor location or an outdoor location that has some lighting, let me know. And otherwise, we should have a notice on the set date very soon, and just are very aware how long it's taken to have this meeting. There have just been some differences in approach that we had to work through, and then of course the pandemic, but everyone felt pretty strongly that it would be better if it happened in person. So that's played into the delays too, but stay tuned. Sorry, I don't have something more concrete.
Audrey, we could do it in the barn. It's a nice big open space.
That would be great. I will call you tomorrow to discuss. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Audrey, what was the date on that?
We're looking at May 11th.
May 11th. Because I think the school farm is available too if you need another site.
Oh, great. Thank you.
It's in the evening though, right, Audria?
It is in the evening, yeah. So we're hoping to have some lighting available. Just it's gonna probably end around 8 o'clock, and it'll start to get dark by that time. But
one other, oh, sorry, go ahead. We're determining the location. They're looking for one. But I was just going to throw out, and this may not be as desirable because it's mid-coast, but when we were doing like the cannabis type stuff a couple years ago, Half Moon Bay Brewing Company was really generous, gave us a lot of free meeting space, and they have that Mavericks house that has the indoor and the outdoor space. So just something to consider if you can't get one more locally in the South Coast.
there would probably be a pretty good turnout for that one.
I'll be there.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that beer was available.
Yeah, thanks for
Good
those
beer.
recommendations.
I was just going to mention, in spite of the talk about dropping the mask mandate, boy, Omicron is out there, and there are a lot of affected people. And so I would just have to say, at least I'm still using caution in my relationships and associations and meetings. So fortunately, it's not as bad as the first iterations of COVID, but it's moving.
Absolutely. And I'll just throw out there that the company I work with, we retired cloth masks during Omicron due to some of the research that was out, and are only doing surgical grade KN95s or N95s now. Okay, rolling right along. We just got one more non-regular agenda item. Next up is number 11, committee discussion to plan for future trainings and topics, including but not limited to water, planned agricultural district, agricultural land use regulations, wildlife conservation, and Brown Act compliance.
So I'll just say this.
Yeah, I wonder if
Go ahead.
I think that you giving some context, Summer, would be great, but I was going to make the suggestion that in light of how thick the packet is with the regular agenda item, that we might limit how lengthy this discussion would be, knowing that people have come specifically to discuss the mid-pen proposal.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, John, so to that, yeah, this can just be an ongoing kind of agenda item and discussion from the last meeting, where there was some interest from the committee in putting this topic on future agendas to kind of get the ball rolling in strategizing future training topics for the committee. And I just wanted to point out that, as Corin mentioned earlier, the boards and commissions for the county is holding a training session, and all of the committee members here are invited to that. If you haven't seen that invitation, please let me know. It's again March 3rd, Thursday, March 3rd from 8:30 to 11 a.m. It'll be a virtual training, but it will include, in addition to the boards and commissions handbook, Brown Act compliance and other legal requirements, which was one of the topics I know that was brought up at the your last meeting last month. So that will cover that. So I'll just leave it at that. With regards to, if we wanted to, depending on what next month's meeting might have on the agenda, we could I could do a short training session on just getting started with PAD, Planned Agricultural District regulations, and some land use regulations as well, just to kind of keep moving it forward. I'll wait for the committee to direct further.
Yes, Summer, I would definitely, would appreciate, your trainings on the PAD and those types of things. I would encourage everybody to participate in the general commissions and the boards workshop on March 3rd. We might also have something specifically about not only the PAD, but perhaps the Williamson Act and the review of the county policy. Because that's something that we almost every agenda item that comes up concerns the Williamson Act. And then the Brown Act is always important, regardless of the circumstances, the committee or whatever. So we might actually have a specific training for that as well.
Definitely, and I just want to second the support, as our agendas allow, when we have kind of lighter projects to review, it would be great to have that type of training. So thank you, Summer.
Yeah, I second that as well. I heard that discussion in the last meeting, and I think it would be really great as a new member and someone that's kind of new to this type of scenario, that would be really helpful for myself. Time permitted, of course.
I think I have been in contact with the person who's going to be doing the training, because I'm not going to be here on the 3rd, and I definitely don't want to miss it. And I just want to confirm that she said there would be a recording that I could look at afterwards.
Yes, thanks, Judy, for reminding me. I was going to mention that. But yes, if you are not going to be able to attend that March 3rd meeting, that's my understanding as well. It will be recorded and available
Great.
And
Thank
so if you aren't able to make it, definitely let the boards and commissions contact know or let me know, and we can make sure to get you get a copy of the recording.
Where's the meeting going to be at?
It's going to be held virtually, I think probably by Zoom. Yeah, by Zoom. I think it went, that invite went out, I think on Friday, February 4th, around noontime. So, and it should have went to all of the committee members, including the new members. And I'll just say, if you haven't seen it or you missed it, just let me know and we'll get you sent a invite. Thanks.
I haven't seen it.
Is that Peter? Okay. Well, I'll connect with you, Peter, and make sure you get it.
Okay, we ready for our regular agenda?
All right.
Okay, this is the one I need to fully read into the record, so bear with me for a moment. Number 10, number 12 on the regular agenda. The owner is Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District and Peninsula Open Space Trust. The applicants are Mike Williams, MROSD, and Ben Wright, PO Post. Hello, guys, good to have you back. File number is PLN 2021-00381. The location is Higgins Canyon Road in unincorporated Half Moon Bay, and the assessor's parcel numbers are 064-370-200, 064-370-070, 065-210-240, and 065-210-220. And this is for consideration of a certificate of compliance, type B, lot line adjustment, planned agricultural district permit, rescind and replace existing California Land Conservation Act and Farmland Security Zone contracts, Williamson Act, and Land Conservation Act modifications. Please direct any questions to project planner Angela Chavez at achavez@smcgov.org.
Happy Valentine's Day, baby.
And through the chair, I believe the applicants have a brief presentation, if the committee would like to hear that.
Great. I would like to invite the applicant to present their presentation.
Hi, this is Mike Williams. I guess I need permission to share my screen.
Oh.
Okay, let me see if I can allow that. I think I need to promote you to a panelist. Summer, maybe you can help me troubleshoot this. I don't see the panelist option.
Sorry, I was speaking and I was on mute. That wasn't helpful. So I'm wondering if I just need to maybe make you co-host, Mike. So because I don't have a panelist option. So I'm going to try that and see if it gives you the option. Did that work? For a share screen at the bottom.
Okay. Let me know if you're seeing a full screen.
Yes.
Yes, see a full screen.
Okay, Very good. Good evening, everybody. It's nice to see everybody or hear them virtually. My name is Mike Williams. I'm the real property manager for Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District, and I am here this evening with Ben Wright, who is the Director of Land Transactions for Post, as applicants for the item you're considering. We'll go through this presentation and then answer any questions that you have. Let's see. Trying to advance my presentation and go beyond the map. Are you still seeing the full screen?
No, it's
No.
on to the
No, you don't.
PowerPoint. There we go. Full screen.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Thanks for your patience.
I don't know what a
So-
flip is.
You seeing a map now? Great, okay. The 868 acre Johnston Ranch is located at the southerly urban boundary of the city of Half Moon Bay. The property is bisected by Higgins Road and the Arroyo Leon Creek. Highway 1 forms the property's western boundary. The western portions of the property are flat and have been farmed for the Giusti family since the 1940s, with irrigated row crops such as Brussels sprouts and dry farmed on the southernmost field. The upland hills to the east, and then in particular to the north, are grazed by local rancher Tom Pacheco and his daughter Rachel. And then the uplands property south of Higgins Road and east of the city's property have been fallow over 20 years. The property does surround the city of Half Moon Bay's Johnston House property, shown in brown. And then on the other side of the road is the Giusti family farm compound, where they do the processing of the vegetables that they grow. And I want to give a little history on this property. In 1991, developers purchased the property for luxury home and golf course development. The developers proposed annexation of the property to the city of Half Moon Bay in 1992 and put a measure on the ballot, Measure D. And that measure was opposed by 84% of the county residents, thanks to community efforts. And at the time, it was Committee for Green Foothills, now just Green Foothills. And then in 1999 and 2001, Peninsula Open Space Trust purchased the property to protect the agricultural uses and the open space values in two different transactions. And then in the mid-2000s, the Cabrillo School District was interested in developing the farmlands north of Higgins Road with a middle school and a ball field. Post responded by putting 20-year farmland security zone Williamson Act contracts on the properties, the agricultural properties north of Higgins Road, in order to block the school district's plan and to keep the property in agriculture. This contract was supported by the Farm Bureau at that time. And today, the district and Post are here as co-applicants for a lot line adjustment application to create farm parcels, including the ag fields and the irrigation reservoirs that are on the property, and uplands parcels for continued grazing and future compatible public trail access. And so the next slide breaks it down into the proposed lot line adjustment outcome. And in yellow, you have about 224 acres that represent the irrigated row crops. They encompass the reservoirs that are used for irrigating. And then in the southern portion, this area is dry farmed. And then the kind of purple properties that are uplands to the north, this area is grazed. The stock watering pond, it doesn't show here, but there is kind of a ranch compound with a barn that post is restored. And then these hills above the reservoirs and the city's property have been fallow for over 20 years. And then I'm going to just get a little bit more specific. I'm going to show you the existing parcels that exist today, and then we'll follow that up with the proposed parcels as part of this lot line adjustment. So on the screen here, parcel 1, can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay. Parcel 1 includes irrigated row crops. And this property is subject to a 20-year Williamson Act contract. And then parcel 2, existing parcel 2, also includes prime ag irrigated crops, and then uplands, which are grazed. Here you can see the ranch compound. And parcel 2 is also subject to a 20-year Williamson Act contract. And then across Higgins Road, parcel 3 includes a small reservoir and portions of the 2 Yoshikawa reservoirs. The uplands area is fallow. This area east of the city's property has a farm, a small ag field, and then this area is irrigated row crop, and then this southern region is dry farmed. Parcel 3 is subject to a 10-year Williamson Act contract. And then parcel 4, once again, continues the balance of the both dry farm and irrigated farmland, portions of the 2 reservoirs, and then fallow uplands. Okay, I'm going the wrong way now, or I went too fast. There we go. And so then these are now the proposed parcels that the lot line adjustment, the proposed lot line adjustment would achieve. Proposed parcel 1 would combine the 2 ag fields that are north of Higgins Road into one property. And this property would be subject to a 20-year Williamson Act contract. Proposed parcel 2 would combine the uplands, both north and south of Higgins Road, into one parcel. The north area is subject to a 20-year Williamson Act contract, and it would be, this contract would be rescinded and replaced with a 20-year open space easement contract with the county, providing for continued grazing of that property in conjunction with this property, which is not part of the lot line adjustment. And then proposed parcel 3 is this small area here of about 7 acres. It has an ag field east of the city's property and a small reservoir. And that property is currently subject to a 10-year Williamson Act contract, and that would be changed to a 20-year Williamson Act contract. Parcel 4 would combine the reservoirs that are used for irrigation of the row crops onto parcel 4. And this property is currently under a 10-year contract, but it would be changed to a 20-year Williamson Act contract. And so in summary, the farm properties that consist of about 224 acres, which include irrigated row crops and dry farmed agricultural land, will be subject, all of them will be subject to 20-year Williamson Act contracts. And then the uplands property, which Midpen is proposing to purchase from Post, would be subject to a 20-year open space contract north of Higgins Road and a 10-year contract south of Higgins Road. And with that, I would like to open it up to any questions for Ben and I that any of the committee members may have.
Mike, this is Louis. I have a question.
Hi, Louis.
Hi, Mike.
Good to see you.
The little square that, go back to the previous map.
Sure.
Okay, there's a square right there.
Yeah.
What will that be?
That will be subject, and Ben, correct me. I think that will be subject. It's a separate property, not part of the lot line adjustment application, but it'll be subject to, like the other agricultural parcels, a 20-year Williamson Act contract.
Okay, that is Post property right now, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
This is all still Post property. We are in an agreement managing the uplands and working with the grazing tenant on the uplands property.
That's Tommy Pacheco, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Up on this property.
The reason why that parcel is not called out here is it's a separate legal parcel and it didn't require adjustment. So it's just not part of the land division application. Right.
Okay.
And similarly, I'm sorry, this property up here is about 210 acres. It's not subject to the lot line adjustment either.
How many acres is plot 3 after the proposed parcels?
Approximately 7 acres, a little over 7 acres.
Hello, Mike. This is Fred. How come parcel 3? Hello. How come parcel 3 isn't incorporated into parcel 2? Why are they separate? You might have covered that and I just missed it.
It's farmed by John Giusti, and so it has a regulating reservoir on it, which ties into the other 2 reservoirs, and so it's all run as a part of the same farm operation.
Okay.
And the goal on parcels 1, 3, and 4, and the other parcel that Louis pointed out, is that those would be sold in the future to the farmer, in this case, John Giusti, subject to an agricultural conservation easement.
Excellent. Thank you.
I guess another question I have is, are there any changes in regards to the farming complex that's kind of parcel 1 surrounds?
No, and that's owned by the Giusti family, not John Giusti, and it is used for, it will continue to be used for processing and farm labor housing. And Ben, do you want to add anything about that? You're much more familiar with that property.
No, I think you covered it, Mike. It's just under separate ownership right now. So a different part of the Giusti family, not just John and his sons by themselves.
Okay.
I have a question, Peter.
Hi, Peter.
Yeah, the year was about 2002. It was the same time frame as when the Post brought fishing game around, and on the Prisma Creek that used to be dammed up, and it used to have irrigated Brussels sprouts from Higgins Canyon all the way to Rice's soil farm. Well, now half of it's farmed because of depletion of water, and after we kept at the Ag Advisory Committee in the Farm Bureau, we kept saying that the dam on the creek was actually good for the fish. After a 10-year study, they found out after the study that we were correct. Does that dam still get dammed up like it used to be historically? Does it not get dammed up? Because when it used to get dammed up, it was ample supply of water for all that acreage versus half of it now. What's going on with that creek? How is it dammed up like it used to be, or is it not?
I can speak to that, Mike. So thanks, Peter. Yeah, Post actually fought that as well in this case. And that was around the time was 1997 when the fish was listed as a threatened species. And so there was back and forth, as you say, Peter. There were a number of folks, including Post, who advocated for the value of that as rearing habitat for young fish. Unfortunately, we were not successful, and the dams were forcibly decommissioned. So they're still standing, but they're left open permanently. And that did reduce the storage capacity of the farm.
That was around, Jeff, Ben, you weren't around at the time, but
Correct.
It was around, if I'm not mistaken, 2002, because it was the same time that Jeff Powers, employee from Post, went to the Gazas, and the two creeks that were hit were the property owners of Post and nobody else, and it was that creek, Higgins Canyon, of that dam, and taking away the water rights of Gazas Creek that we farmed, as well as Musey. And after their study, though, a 10-year study, they found out we were correct that what was best for the fish was to dam it up, so they're still not being dammed up. And seeing that it's not being dammed up, is there any provisions for Post or Mid-Penn to create more water for that property so they could have irrigated row crop land like it historically used to be, rather than half that it is now?
Sorry, Peter, was that just a general question for the farmer related to this application?
A question in this proposal for Mid-Penn or Post, is there any provisions in all this here, subdivide this and that, to develop more water, so that way you would have the same amount of water that the row crop farmer used to have historically before it was taken away by Fish and Game and Post?
The current application reflects our best efforts over the last several years, working with John, Giusti, and others to retain as much water as possible with the farm, the water that's currently out there. Adding additional water is kind of outside the scope of the land division application, but we have looked into that, and there have been a number of studies over the years that haven't pointed to easy solutions for increasing storage or drilling wells, but we've been looking.
And the other thing, and lastly, I says by going over this, first of all, I don't have the capability of virtual, I only have by phone. And historically in the past, the Ag Advisory Committee on some projects as complex as this has been a site presentation. And for me, I think it would be very much beneficial if we could have a meeting of a site presentation, and we've done this in the past, or with the Ag Committee, and open to the public, so that way there the presentation would show on site exactly what are your proposals, so it could be more understanding to me and more clear.
Yeah, this is Lauren. I'm just going to jump in on the site visit because I know we chatted a lot about that last year. And I think the discussion was around I think where we left it is that any member can request a site visit related to a project. If we make it a formal meeting, then it needs to be Brown Acted and agendized and all that good stuff, which certainly not opposed to on a project of this size, but just logistically throwing that out there for consideration.
We have in the past had it be, like you said, agendatized, and so we could be in compliance with the Brown Act. And we've done this in the past years ago, site visits in the plan. So the meeting would be taking place at the site, specifically on the agenda for this, and can be done. And so that way there, at least for me, and I think there's others as well, could understand it a little bit better. But and like I say, I don't have virtual, and looking at the maps and all, I get a much better visual on site to get a better understanding. And if other people feel the same way as me, that's what I would like to have, is a site meeting that's agendized, so that way there the Ag Committee could be present as well as the public to understand this project is pretty good size, so that way they can make a very responsible vote when it comes to it.
I think this is Natalie. I think that in the most recent past, since I've been on the committee, we did this in a way that we had small numbers of people from the committee attend on different days, which made it doable per the Brown Act. If that makes sense, I believe that's what we did. Thank you.
I hear what Natalie's saying, and yes, that is one alternative, but I think you still could have a site meeting to be in compliance with the Brown Act, so therefore everybody could come and have it one big presentation. So either that way or the way Natalie says, one way or the other would work. But like I say, I would love to have an on-site presentation to understand it really thoroughly.
I think given that there's, a couple ways to do it, I think that it should happen because, it's definitely doable.
I will mention that it was in either late August or September that we did hold a public meeting there, and we did send invitation to the Farm Bureau. A couple of Farm Bureau members did attend, and we did have during COVID an on-site meeting with people wearing masks, where we did just that. And I know that Jess usually circulates that to all members, so there was an opportunity for both the public and certainly several members of this committee to come out to the property, and a couple Farm Bureau members did take advantage of that.
Yeah, I'm asking for a meeting through the Ag Advisory Committee, so that's what I'm asking for.
I understand that. Thank you, Peter.
This is Lauren. I just want to ask, and if there are other members that have a similar interest.
Does this, should we do a motion on this? Like we move that we have, a meeting per the Brown Act at this location? Is that something that happens next?
Certainly not opposed to that. I just kind of wanted to get some committee discussion first and see if there are other members interested in that. But absolutely, we can make a motion on that, Natalie.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of information that's available on this, and Mike just gave a presentation with, maps and descriptions of the site and the intentions, and that there have been previous on-site meetings in order to facilitate this, these modifications. I can appreciate being on the site, looking around it, and having that personal discussion. But I'd be fully in support if Mike was willing to provide that. But it seems like the Post has already done that, or MinPet has already done that, and it hasn't been. And members of the Ag Advisory Committee have not been there. Peter, with all respect to you, it's like you're working off of your phone there. And we've got a pretty good presentation here in front of us for those who have a screen. And I don't know what's reasonable.
Who is this talking? Who is this talking?
This is Fred that's talking.
Name? Yeah, okay. Hi, Fred. This is Natalie.
Hi, Natalie. How you doing?
Thank you for, if you could say who you are. With all due respect, I believe that the Ag Advisory never had a meeting there. So I think that with the times as they are now and the importance of doing our due diligence correctly, I think it would be prudent to absolutely have an on-site visit rather than take a vote when we're not informed. I mean, and it's not against Post or Mid-Penn. They're doing an excellent job. It's just that right now, because we have to have meetings like this, not every place where we live in rural areas has access to computers to be able to see things online, hence agriculture in this day and age sometimes. Thank you.
Okay. We have someone with their hand raised. Just want to throw that out there for John.
Okay, when I get a chance.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I try to get this. I see 415 number with. Is that you, Peter? You wanted to follow up?
I'll do a quick follow-up, but that's not me. I think that's Ron Sturgeon. The 415 is usually Ron Sturgeon. It is in the past, and this was before Fred Crowder was here. This was all the way back with Hank Sharoni, and so I remember there was a lot of on-site presentations, and it was of the Ag Committee. So that way there, and like I said, I'm just asking so I can understand it better. If the committee doesn't want to do that, that's fine by me, and everybody could vote their certain way and be done with it. But I've been here a long time, and I've been prior to the second term, I was on the committee for 17 years, and then I wasn't on the committee for a few years, and now I'm on the committee again for about 3-4 more years. And prior to that, I says when the Ag Advisory Committee used to meet Pescadero and alternate in Half Moon Bay, and then every third meeting used to meet in San Gregorio. Way back then, they used to do a lot of site committees, and that was back in the time, like I said, Jack Ocean, Hank Sharoni, and two Ag commissioners before than what we have now, and George Janello. That's sort of the name I'm looking for, and it wasn't uncommon. And so that way there, and this is what I was referring to back in the day when they used to have a lot, so you could really get a good visual to understand. Now, it's up to the committee if if I make a motion later on in discussion, if they want to do that or not. But anyways, that's all I have to say. You could go back to the 415 caller, okay?
Thank you, Peter. Yeah, I think that you make an excellent point. Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
Thanks, John. I was actually at the meeting in August, and what's being discussed tonight, it was not discussed during that meeting, except in a very general way of about how things were going to go in the future with if everything worked out according to Post and Mid-Penn's plan about Mid-Penn assuming title of the uplands and the farmland being sold to a private party. But yeah, the what's actually going on here really wasn't clear to me reading staff report. I actually got more out of Mike's presentation tonight over the phone than I did looking at all the maps in your packet, and the maps are pretty confusing, but I won't point out why but tonight, but I do have a few questions that I'd like to ask the applicants regarding what's proposed. Why is the 20-year farmland security contract on the uplands portion of what's north of Higgins Canyon Road being rescinded and changed to an open space easement for contract? in that what's south of Higgins Canyon Road, Parcel 2 is going to continue with a 10-year Williamson Act contract. I'm just wondering why the grazing land on the north side of Higgins is being changed from a agricultural easement to an open space easement.
Hi, Ron. Just a point of clarification, and maybe I didn't state it clearly. The 10-year contract that is on the Parcel 2 on the south side of Higgins Road is also being proposed for rescind and replace with an open space easement contract with the county. So I just wanted to be clear on that. The contract on the north side, as mentioned, was 20. So we're proposing a rescind and replace with an open space easement contract. And, you know, I think you're probably familiar with this. In general, as a public agency, the district files for non-renewal on Williamson Act contracts when we acquire property. We are a tax exempt agency and we derive, you know, no tax benefits from it. And we usually file for non-renewal. In this case, as an open space agency, we prefer to be in the open space easement contract, and that change is allowed for under the subdivision ordinances. However, we've already entered into a long-term grazing lease subject to a rangeland management plan. And one of the provisions that will be in this 20-year open space easement contract is our continued commitment for grazing that property going forward.
Well, that kind of skirts my question, Mike, in that there are two parcels on the north side of Higgins where one of them was non-renewed several years back, and the second one is I think you just recently non-renewed or going to be non-renewed. I mean, those are non-renewed. Why are you not doing what you usually do on what the other uplands that Mid-Penn is acquiring? Why aren't you non-renewing those instead of putting 20-year open space easements on them? There's an inconsistency here that I'd like to have explained. I mean, I just want to know what's going on.
Sure. I think one of the requirements when you do a lot line adjustment is you create different parcels and it changes the contracts, and there needs to be a consistency in the contracts for the number of years. And so any change in contract has to be for the same term of years. Now, in this case, the farm or row crop properties that are in 10-year contracts south of the road are being put in 20-year contracts by post. And that's for parcel 3 and 4. But it has to be the same term or greater. And so that is one of the requirements of doing a lot line adjustment when there are Williamson Act contracts, is that you need to rescind and replace them with new Williamson Act contracts, or there's an option to do an open space easement contract. And we've opted for the open space easement contract. I hope that answers your question a little better, Ron.
Well, I'm sorry to say it doesn't, in that I would like to know, again, why you're doing any easement at all on those properties that Mid-Penn is intending to acquire, when generally you non-renew before you even, I mean, Post generally non-renews the Williamson Act contract even before they conveyed it to Mid-Penn. but I would like to have that explained, why you're not non-renewing as opposed to kind of doubling down on an open space easement.
Well, point of clarification, Post doesn't in general file for non-renewal when we're buying their property. We go through the process of filing for non-renewal. Post doesn't do that in general. That's been my experience. I don't know how else to say it more clearly. It is a requirement of a lot line adjustment for lands under contract that those contracts be rescinded and renewed for the new configuration. And that does not prohibit the district down the road for filing for non-renewal of a Williamson Act contract or an open space easement contract, just like any other property owner, but it is a requirement of the lot line adjustment requirements. That's why we're doing it.
This is Lauren, if I might just jump in for a second. Yeah, I think what I from Ron, follow-up question to yours is, and this may be what you're getting at, but correct me if I'm off base here. On the open space easements, why were those selected instead of new Williamson Act contracts? Is that kind of, was those grazing lands you're more interested in?
Yeah, that would be another question, but
okay.
Lauren, generally, as Mr. Williams indicated, the district non-renews on the property they required, and when they acquired the Gordon Ridge property, Post non-renewed the Williamson contracts even before Post acquired it. So I'm just curious as to why they don't have to. Mr. Williams would just be wrong in saying that that the owner can choose to non-renew at any time, whether there's a lot line adjustment or not. I believe that the applicants are wrong in thinking that the term is 10 years as far as the Williamson Act contract is concerned. I think it was changed by state law several years back during the financial crisis to 9 years, but I could be mistaken and it could have been changed back. But I think it's a 9-year term as opposed to a 10-year term. And I'm not certain about the Farmland Security Act. I think that was shortened too from 20 years. So I agree with Peter.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to interject. This is Angela Chavez. I'm the project planner. So if you look through the Williamson Act contract regulations that we provided at the end of the packet, under Uniform Rule 4, there is a discussion about the rescission and reentry. And when it pertains to lot line adjustments, Mike is correct. It's not coming from the lot line adjustment or subdivision regulations, but it's actually coming from the Williamson Act contract program. And again, that's included at the end of the packet.
What page is that?
So that page, if you're looking at the document page, it's on page 27 of the Williamson Act.
No, on the committee's packet. Is that?
I'm sorry, I just have the paper packet, but if you give me a second, I can look that up and get that for you.
Under that agenda item. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to see if I could get kind of whether I could get an understanding on what maybe Ron is trying to get at in the question and Mike's response. Is there a feeling that having it under Williamson Act is beneficial to the preservation of the land in agriculture, and our concern or a legitimate concern among the committee members would be not wanting to see it leave the Williamson Act. Whereas from MidPenn's perspective, as a nonprofit entity, there's no benefit to them from a tax perspective to keep it in the Williamson Act, so that it makes more sense for them to choose other ways of committing to the preservation of the land in agriculture or in ranching. And I guess it's up to them to convince us that those other forms are equally good to the Williamson Act. Would that be an accurate summary of the concern that you're speaking to, Ron? And would that summary give Mike an opportunity to kind of defend himself?
Yeah, that's part of
okay.
it, John, in that the Williamson Act requires it to be farmed, as you know, or ranched. And whereas the open space easement allows for it, but doesn't require it.
It seems
Can I
that
chime
Carrie
in?
has her
Sorry.
hand up. Would you want to make a comment?
Can I just interject for the page
Yeah.
number? I'm sorry, this is Angela again. So it's page 139 of the document.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
John, I have a question for Ben. Is Ben still with us?
I am. Yes. Hi, Louis.
Hi, Ben. The ponds there, what is the water source? Where is it from? Are the Arroyo de Leon?
There are water rights to that, as well as just the natural drainage area. Yeah.
And where is the intake for that? That will be still on your property, or will they get an easement?
Yeah, so there will still be creek frontage, kind of where we can see on the map here, number 1, the riparian area cuts right through that parcel. So there'll still be legal access to the creek.
Okay, so they pull water off of parcel 1 to fill the reservoir over on parcel 4 and 3.
They do have water rights to pull water there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm happy to keep answering your question, Louis. I want to make sure that we also, Mike and I, can introduce Sandy Summer, who's on the call here as a consultant working with us, land planning consultant working with both Post and MidPenn. So if we get more into technical questions again, she may be able to help answer.
Thanks, man.
Great. It looks like Carrie has her hand up if she wanted to make a comment.
Thank you, John.
Or
hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, and welcome to the new members, and appreciate the presentation tonight by Mike and Ben. I had a few questions, and it's great that Angela is with us tonight. But my questions, I have 3. Does the new parcel number 3 with the reservoir, does it have to meet the size requirements in the PAD and the general plan? And also, will all the new parcels created by the lot line adjustments, will they be considered legal parcels? And finally, will separate domestic water sources be required for these new parcels? Those were my questions. Thank you.
I can take those. This is Angela again. So the updated LCP amendments that were processed address the parcel size. So that's covered there. I'm sorry, Carrie, the second question was about legal parcels.
Oh yeah, no, Angela, thank you. I just didn't follow. So like parcel number 3, we heard was 7 acres. And so you're saying that 7 acres is consistent with the PAD zoning?
With the LCP update, yes.
Okay, I'm just not familiar with that provision. So hopefully we could just.
Yeah, I can get you clarification.
Okay, perfect, that's fine. And then two was, then are all the parcels, once the lot line adjustment is recorded, are they all then considered legal parcels?
Yes.
And so therefore is that recordation, would there be a requirement that they would have to have their own separate domestic water supply proven?
Since we know kind of what we have the protections of the agricultural easements, and knowing that the parcels would be acquired by the remaining upper parcels would be acquired by Mid-Penn. We're not requiring that at this time. If any future development is proposed that's subject to it, then that would need to be evaluated at that time.
Terrific, thank you.
You're welcome.
John, this is Lauren. I just wanted to kind of check in planning wise on our timing. We've got 8 minutes left of our planned meeting, and I think in the interest of everyone's sanity, we don't want to keep everyone over on Valentine's Day on a Monday. Is this something we want to continue at a future meeting? Do we want to try to get through the last agenda items? Where's the committee kind of feeling with our discussions tonight?
9 o'clock.
Are you with us, John? It looks like you're still muted. Sorry
Hi, Lauren,
about that.
this is
Yeah,
Nat.
I do feel like this. Go
ahead.
Sorry,
Go.
Natalie. I'll go ahead. I do feel like this agenda item's big enough that we'll want to continue to discuss this in another meeting. There was potential for Peter to make a motion for a site visit. I feel like there is a lot here in the packet to discuss without a site visit, although I wouldn't be opposed to that being proposed as well. But it seems like we'll want to make a motion to continue discussion to another meeting.
I think this is Fred, I think I would second that as well. Site visits are great, and but in the time of COVID, that can be a little bit challenging. But if Mid-Penn can arrange one, I will certainly be there. There's a significant amount of information in the packet concerning this, as well as Mike's and Ben's presentation. And I would encourage all the committee members to review that and to be familiar with it. But yeah, I don't think we're ready to vote on this. And so I would be inclined to move this on to a future meeting.
All right, sounds good. Sorry, go ahead, Natalie.
Sorry, I don't have the ability to raise my hand from the phone, but question is the presentation for the people that, and that don't have internet and during this COVID time, is there a way to get, is it a PowerPoint? Is there a way to get a printed copy of that to them in the interim between this meeting and the next meeting? And that's not to take away from a site visit, but that would probably be helpful as well.
If I could just, Angela here again. These are actually included as attachments. They don't have the Mid-Penn sort of banner on them, but they are in the packet.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, fantastic.
Yeah, this is Lauren. Natalie, I was just going to share, the packet has the maps we've been looking at and a lot more info. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're fine. I appreciate it. Thanks for your help. I think that I think it would still be helpful to do the site visit, and I think it's important for everybody to be able to make as informed a decision as possible. And that's something that we could talk about again at the next meeting. But thank you for that. I apologize. I'm stuck at the airport. Thanks.
No apology needed. This is Lauren. Just logistically speaking, not one way or the other for site visits. If we make it a formal committee thing, it's under the Brown Act. However, when we were exploring this last year, where we kind of left it of what would be the fastest way to get people interested in site visits is if the applicant or planner were interested in just hosting no more than 3 committee members at a time for an informal committee or site visit, because that would, if we have 3 or more committee members, that's when it triggers the Brown Act, from my understanding, although our training will clarify that. And since this will be continued at the next conversation, but with the understanding of COVID, I'm not sure, Mike or Angela or someone, if we could direct anyone interested in a site visit to you for kind of coordination on that front. Is that something you'd be open to? Just thinking logistically about how to allow Peter and those interested in kind of having more site context before we continue the conversation, and not slowing us down by having to have another agenda Brown committee thing before the next monthly meeting.
Lauren, this is Mike. I was going to request that for those who are the committee members that are interested, we could do, several meetings with no more than 3 committee members on the property in the interim until next month, when this item is revisited by the Ag Committee. And that's what I'm comfortable doing. And I believe I'll let Ben speak for himself. Ben, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to work with you, Mike, and make sure that folks have an opportunity to get out there.
Thank you so much. That's super generous. Peter, does that meet kind of your needs on your end?
Lauren, yeah, if I could speak. I don't care if it's a scheduled on-site presentation, agendized for all of us, or if Mike and Ben would rather do it in small groups, less than 3. I don't care. Ben and Mike both have my phone number. They both could call me to make an appointment. So, because I would love to go on site so they could show me, so I could understand it better. I don't care if it goes the one way or the other. Whatever they feel comfortable with is fine with me. And when I say one way or the other, I don't care if it's agendized and it is a general meeting on site, so it complies with the Brown Act, or the other way, like we did with Guida Verde, less than 3. To me, it doesn't matter. It's just I would like to have on-site presentation so I can understand it as a visual a lot better.
Wonderful. And
Lauren,
Ron's raising his hand. Sorry, go ahead.
Is it okay to ask to get an idea of how many committee members would be interested, so we can figure out how many site visits we'll be scheduling? Is that a okay request to make?
I think so. I will defer to Summer, but I, of course, have no issue with it. And I believe Ron has his hand raised again. John, FYI.
Yes. Yeah, I'd be interested to know as well how many people are interested. I think that it's a lot to ask you guys to do multiple site visits, but if maybe it could be three distinct site visits. Ron, did you want to go ahead and speak?
Yes, thanks, John. The meeting in August was a meeting of the Mid-Penn Planning and Natural Resources Committee, and it was certainly a Brown Act compliant and agendized notice meeting, and I would prefer the committee choose that option to have a meeting of the entire committee, so that the public can attend as well. And it just has to be agendized and noticed, and that's not a costly undertaking. So I hope that the committee chooses to meet together, so that if there's deliberation that goes on, I can hear it, and also an opportunity to ask questions further questions that I have. Thanks.
Can I speak a second, Peter?
In the interest of time.
Yes,
I know
please
one,
go ahead, Peter.
And I'm gonna need to go in the next 5 minutes. So I'm just gonna.
Okay, I'll be real quick. I just want to make a brief, quick statement. I says years ago, and I said it earlier, and I'll be real quick. And it says, I remember B.J. Burns even stated one time before that when we used to have site presentations, and we're going back years, I says in the early 80s, he says they were able to get a good visual and better understanding. So what I'm trying to say, what I'm saying is not out of the ordinary. This has taken place through the Ag Committee a long time ago, way before a lot of people were around, and I've been around here all my life. And so this is not pie in the sky. It's happened, and it's happened with this committee many times, and we're going back over 20, 30 years ago. Thank you.
Yeah, and Peter, I don't think anybody's questioning that. This is Fred. It's just under the current circumstances with COVID, it makes it difficult. I would, if we could agendize the next meeting to meet at the train station, which is on that site, and get a presentation at that time, that would be great. And I'll just throw that out and shut up.
Is the committee able to appoint, since you're about to wrap up the time, are you able to appoint somebody to follow up with Mike and I on this to figure out logistics?
Definitely. First, I just want to ask what committee members are interested in a site visit before our March meeting? Because I want to circle back to John's question. Mike's question.
Do you want to take a roll call, Lauren?
Sure. May this be the last thing we do tonight. Judy.
Yeah, I've got some travel plans, so it's going to be difficult for me. I guess in my mind, the packet itself, I've read through most of it and it's very thorough. So
that's a no.
I don't want to hold
Sorry,
plans.
in the interest of time, is that a no?
Yeah, probably so, because I don't think I can.
James?
Yes.
Natalie?
I have a question. I don't know if I need to recuse myself from voting, although I feel it's important that I discuss it. Just because we sold a parcel of land a few years back, we leased to grow some of our crops from Mid-Penn on that same land we sold them. So logistically, if I need to recuse myself from voting, then I would not do a site visit. But if I don't, then I would. So you guys got the answer on that? I'm sorry, I have to, find out here.
I would need to check on that.
I'll put you down for a maybe, Natalie.
Yeah.
Louis?
Oh, yes, depending on the day and the time.
Okay, Jonathan?
Yeah, my questions were similar to Ron's concerning the open space transferred.
I completely understand that. I'm sorry, and I need to go in literally 1 minute.
No problem.
Are you interested in a site visit before the next meeting?
No, that's okay.
Thank you. John?
Realistically, I don't know that I would be able to make it to one, but I would be interested.
Okay, I'm gonna put you down for maybe two. Bill?
Yes.
Peter? I think I'm gonna go with a yes for you since you have been clear on that. Ryan?
No, I don't need a site visit.
Okay, Fred?
Yes.
And I'm Lauren, and I don't feel like I need a site visit. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeses and 2 maybes. And I think what we've done in the past for the Vita Verde project is we had folks email the planner. So I'm sorry, Angela, but to circle back to Ben's question, that was what we did in the past.
May I ask, is the committee okay with having small groups then? And having the committee members email the project planner to coordinate that with the applicant? Or are you wanting to try to do a normal Brown Act group meeting? Is there a preference one way or the other?
I think we've had different committee members express preference, and both those sides, we have not taken a vote on that.
I'm not sure if I understand it. If we were to agendize it, would that be able to happen before the next meeting, or is the small group a way to make it happen more quickly so that people would have had that site visit before the next meeting?
Yeah, the small group would be a more expedited way to make sure that it happens before the next meeting. I couldn't say for sure whether we could get something pulled together for a large group, meeting in compliance with the Brown Act before the next AAC meeting.
Could I say something real quick?
Oh, no.
Okay, I won't say nothing then.
No, go ahead, Peter, because you were the one who brought this up first. So maybe you can bring us home with it.
I'll keep it for later. I'm just getting late.
Hey, Lauren, this is Natalie. If we, I think we should just do it what's going to expedite it more, unless there's some reason I'm missing to agendize it, because that's good for mid-pen, it's good for post, but it is good for getting the information to the people. So can we do it? Do we do a vote on it? How does that work? Because if we do, I move that we, just get it done in the small group.
I'm not sure this is something we need a roll call vote on.
I don't think it is. I think if you can just provide staff with direction on what to do next.
Okay,
we'll do it.
Is any voting member opposed to doing small groups to expedite the process to ensure folks are able to do a site visit if they want to before the next meeting?
No. I feel to accommodate those individuals that need the on-site visit, that it would be great if Mid-Penn could accommodate them.
Happy to do so. And Summer, if it's okay, and it makes it simpler, if it were, I would be happy to schedule it directly through me if that saves county staff time on scheduling it with us. Ben and I can do it with the committee members if that's appropriate.
Okay, well, if that sounds like it's the direction, is the small groups, then yeah, Angela and I can coordinate, Mike, with you and Ben and figure out the best way to get in touch with the committee members and schedule small groups, whether that we do that or we get your assistance with that, but we'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And with that, I move to table the rest of this discussion and the rest of the agenda items on this meeting to our March meeting.
I would second that motion.
I second that.
When you lose your secretary, you're done.
Okay, let me just get in the record. Seconded by Fred. Okay, last roll call vote. Okay, let me get this down. Okay, Judy.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. James.
Yes.
Natalie.
Can you repeat it? I'm sorry.
It's the motion to just end the meeting now and to pick everything else up at the next meeting.
Okay, yes.
Okay, thank you. Louis.
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Bill.
Aye.
Peter.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Fred.
Aye, aye.
And I'm Lauren, and I vote yes. I just want to say thank you again and welcome to all the new members, and thank you to the applicants tonight for answering all our questions and being generous with coordinating the site visits. And I'm going to shut up now.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you. Happy
And Mike
Valentine's,
and
everybody.
Ben.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Hi, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Good to see you.
John, can you actually just say that you adjourn the meeting, please?
Yeah, I'll officially adjourn the the meeting. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.